All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining me on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel's Bible Studies program. And as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. Now, before we get started, let me go ahead and remind you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to tell a friend and tell a friend to tell a friend. If you feel so inclined, please smash that notification bell because I don't want you to miss any of our lessons. And while you're at it, please feel free to check the description box down below. If you care to donate, you can donate through either PayPal or CashApp. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into our lesson. This lesson is a two-part lesson, and this is the 7 abominations unto God. Now, I didn't do this lesson before, like a year or so ago or something like that, but I taught it out of the King James Version. So this time I will be teaching it from the scriptures version of the Bible. When I do that, I switch versions sometimes so that I can help people get a different understanding. I mean, you guys know that some people have some of their favorite versions of the Bibles. Now, I don't think all versions are created equal, obviously, but I do believe that the scriptures version is a good version as well as the King James. Now, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and get into this lesson called the abomination unto God. Now, of course, we're going to go to the Psalms where we find it, or Proverbs, where we find the things that the Most High think that are abominable. And I think this is also one of those things that's kind of like a good starting point for some people. Like, for instance, if you imagine someone who is brand new to the faith, someone who's just now coming in, it's kind of like when you look at the New Testament and the New Testament converts, the New Testament proselytes, things like that. When they start coming in, that's when the apostles will give them, okay, stay away from blood, stay away from meat strangulation, stay away from fornication, kind of giving them a starting point, right? Because we know that they're taught, you know, in the synagogue every Sunday. Moses is taught every Sabbath, I'm sorry, not Sunday, that Moses is taught in every city in the synagogue. But this is also one of those things when we get to these things that the Most High hate, if we can stay away from the abomination, that is a very good starting point. Now, obviously, you don't want to stop there. There are some other things that we need to be mindful of. But I like to get to these 7 abominations. I like to get to these because it's like, you know what? If you're teaching someone to say, you know what? Let's just stay away from anything that'll make you abominable. These things the Most High particularly detest, right? So that's a very good place to start. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the scriptures, and we're going to look at the things that are abominable to the Most High. Now, with that in mind, join me over in the Psalms. Join me over in Psalms, right? And so when we get there, we're going to go to Psalms chapter 26. Psalms chapter 26, and we are going to start from the beginning. Let's see, Psalms 26. And we're going to read the first 6 verses. And it says, "Rule me rightly, O Yah, for I have walked in my integrity, and I have trusted in Yah without wavering. Examine me, O Yah, and prove me. Try my kidneys and my heart." And your Bible may say brains and stuff. So try me, you know, the inside. "For your loving commitment is before my eyes, and I have walked in your truth. And I have not sat with men of falsehood, nor do I enter with pretenders. I have hated the assembly of evildoers, and I do not sit with the wrong. I wash my hands in innocence, and I walk around your slaughter place, O Yah." I walk around your slaughter place, oh yeah. So we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it moving. We're going to go into 2 Corinthians, if you will. 2 Corinthians. There we go. And we're going to go to chapter 13. 2 Corinthians chapter 13. Now, when we get there, we're going to start at verse 5, which reads, "Examine yourselves whether you are in the belief. Prove yourselves. Or do you not know yourselves that Yeshua, Messiah, is in you, unless you are disapproved? And I trust that you shall know that we are not disapproved. And we pray to Elohim that you do no evil at all. Not that we should appear approved, but that you should do what is right, even though we should appear unapproved. For we have no power at all against the truth, but for the truth. Okay, I want you guys to get this. We have no power. Even though we should appear unapproved. For we have no power at all against the truth, but for the truth. Verse 9, for we rejoice when we are weak and you are strong. And this also we pray for your perfection. For this reason I write this in my absence, so that being present I should not use sharpness according to the authority which the Master has given me for upbuilding and not for overthrowing. For the rest, brothers, rejoice and be made perfect. Be encouraged, be of one mind, live in peace. And the Elohim of love and peace shall be with you. So a couple of things we need to do, because we need to be mindful of ourselves. I mean, obviously the scriptures tell us that we need to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, and we need to enter into that straight gate. We need to examine ourselves. It's telling us here, examine yourselves whether you are in the belief, prove yourself, test this thing out. Or do you not know yourselves that Yeshua Messiah is in you unless you are disapproved? Unless you're disapproved. Now if he's in you and you got him, okay, then okay, prove that. Because see, our faith is an action word. It's not just some type of emotional assent. It's just not some chemical reaction in our brain that says, oh, I have faith. Oh, I love Christ. Oh, I love Jesus. It's not just that. Sometimes it's going to be tested. You're going to have to prove that. Right? So we're going to have to just keep that in mind, because that is something that we're going to have to contend with one day. So we're going to go to Ephesians. Okay? Let's go 2 books up and we're going to go to Ephesians. We're going to go to Ephesians chapter 4. I'm going to start at the beginning and then jump around a little bit and let you guys know. So it's Ephesians 4. We're going to read the first 7 verses. One says, I call upon you, therefore, I, the prisoner of the Master, to walk worthily of the calling with which you were called, with all humility and meekness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, being eager to guard the unity of the Spirit in the bonds of peace. One body, one Spirit, as you also were called in one expectation of your calling. One Master, one belief, one immersion, one Elohim and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. But to each one of us favor was given according to the measure of the gift of Messiah. Okay, now we are equipped. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm preparing you, getting you ready, strengthening you so that you won't have to fall to the abominations that we're going to get to, the things that he absolutely hates. Okay, just preparing you, getting you ready. Okay, before we move forward, we're going to move around a little bit. We're going to go to verse 11. It says what he says. And he himself gave some as emissaries, and some as prophets, and some as evangelists, and some as shepherds and teachers. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Look at what he gave. All of us don't have the exact same job and the exact same function. 12, for the perfecting of the set apart ones, to the work of service, to a building up of the body of Messiah. To the building up of the body of Messiah. Now we're going to drop down to 17. So, this I say and witness in the Master, that you should no longer walk as the nations walk, in the futility of your mind, having been darkened in their understanding, having been estranged from life of Elohim, because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the hardness of their heart, who, having become callous, have given themselves up to indecency, to work all uncleanness with greediness. But you have not so learned Messiah, if indeed you have heard him and were taught by him, as truth is in Yeshua, that you put off with regard to your former behavior, the old man being corrupted according to the desires of the deceit, and to the renewed in the spirit of your mind. And that you put on the renewed man, which was created according to Elohim in righteousness and set apartness of the truth. And therefore, having put off the false, speaking truth, each one with his neighbor. For we are members of one another. Be wroth, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Okay, listen to what we have here, brothers and sisters. So, he said, be wroth, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, nor give place to the devil. Let him who stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, so that he has somewhat to share with those in need. Let no corrupt word come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for the use of building up, so as to impart what is pleasant to the hearer. And do not grieve the set apart spirit of Elohim, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. And let all bitterness and wrath and displeasure and uproar and slander be put away from you, along with all evil. Along with all evil. And be kind towards one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, as Elohim also forgave you in Messiah. See, there's a lot of things that we can pick out right there. A lot of things we can look at, and it'll teach us what, how we should be. This should shape our worldview, how we should look at different situations, right? How we should look at our situations under different circumstances. This helps us right here. One of the more famous parts of this whole passage, like be wroth, be angry, but do not sin. Don't give the anger, don't give the devil a foothold. Don't let the sun go down on your anger, stuff like that. Things that we should remember. Therefore, having put off the false, to speak truth, each one with his neighbor, okay? Being honest with one another. So much that we can dig into this. We've been a new creature in Christ, a new way of living, a new way of looking at things, a new way of how we conduct ourselves. Let's go on over to Proverbs 6. Okay, just preparing you. Okay, so we're gonna go to Proverbs 6, or Mishle. Let's see if it's Mishle. Proverbs chapter 6. Okay, now when we get to 6, we're going to read 16 through 19. 16 through 19. Now this is what our lesson is about today, brothers and sisters. It says, these 6 matters Yah hates, and 7 are an abomination to him. Now let's look at what's an abomination to him, what he does not like. He particularly detests. He loathes it. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands shedding innocent blood. A heart devising wicked schemes, and feet quick to run to evil. A false witness breathing out lies, and one who causes strife among brothers. Okay, 7 things. 7 things. And we're going to look at each one of those things. Okay, so let's do it one more time. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands shedding innocent blood. A heart devising wicked schemes, feet quick to run to evil. A false witness breathing out lies. Okay, some of that is similar. False witness breathing out lies, and one who causes strife among the brethren. He hates this. So this is, like I said, this is a very good point. You take someone or something, most of the time we start with the 10 Commandments, and that's fine. Okay, that's fine. We start the 10 Commandments, or we pick out a couple that are in the 10 Commandments, right? But you can also start with these. Right? And don't worry, it's all biblical. He does not, these things he does not like. Okay. So we're Proverbs 6:19, and we're going to go 13 and 10 real quick. Let's look at this real quick. 1 second. 13 and 10, which reads like this. By pride comes only strife. Okay, causing strife on each other. Then of course pride and pride. But wisdom is with those who take advice. Okay, so we know pride causes strife. That whole thing, right there. So that's two with one stone. Okay, who causes strife and fighting pride? People puff it up. You know. Let's go to Proverbs 8:13. The fear of Yah is to what? Hate evil, and I have hated pride and arrogance and the evil way and the perverse mouth. One of the interesting things is we have a lot of prideful people. Pride abounds today. Pride abounds today. Just for example, we are a created thing, right? We can at least agree in good faith that we are a created thing. We didn't create ourselves. We came from somewhere, right? And the funny thing is that we see a lot of us humans, we are the creation, and we question the creator. You hear it a lot, you know. You hear a lot of people, it can be downright atheism, right? There is no God, or I don't know if there's a God, you know, atheism and agnosticism, you know, if they're agnostic or not. Or you could have those who are just simply doubting. Well, you have this religion, and you know, how do you know yours is right? There's thousands and tens of thousands of different religions and all that, right? Especially when you're talking about some that are when you have some of these movements marked with sin, right? And so there's a lot of pride going on. You know, we have, you know, alphabet community pride, and we have all these different things. And people, they doubt that there's a creator. They don't want to listen. They don't want to hear any of that. They don't want to listen to anything you and I have to say about the Most High. They're proud. And then, of course, they worship at the altar of their own intellect and their own logic, which usually is circular, because they can't even have a firm stand without there actually being a creator. But they don't see that. So the argument just falls on his face. But that's okay. That's not what this is about. This is about just how prideful a lot of us are as humans, is what I'm saying, as humans. And we all know pride will come before the fall. So one day they will definitely fall. That will definitely be a problem for them, not for us. It'll be a problem for them. But that pride, he definitely, and the funny thing is, also in that pride is that we don't give the Most High the credit where credit is due. Because of pride, We can see all the wonders and the majesty and the miracle of life, the miracles in nature and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, no. Most High didn't do that. There's no God, there's no creator, we just take it all away and try to explain it all the way, and people fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. Pride, they separate the Bible and they separate that from science and reason and logic. Like there's a clear separation and there's not. All we're doing is discovering or explaining what the Most High has already said. He'll say, oh, let there be light. Now we're trying to explain what light is. Oh, see? This is what light is, therefore there is no God. Like, that doesn't make sense. But that's what's backwards about this whole thing. Pride. Okay? Pride. We're going to go to Romans chapter 1. Go to Romans chapter 1. And we're going to read 28 to 30. Romans chapter 1, 28 to 30. And even as they did not think it worthwhile to possess the knowledge of Elohim gave them over to a worthless mind to do what is improper, Having been filled with all unrighteousness, whoring, wickedness, greed, evil, filled with envy, murder, fighting, deceit, evil habits, whisperers, slanders, haters of Elohim, insolent, proud, boasters, devisers of evil, disobedient to parents, without discernment, covenant breakers, unloving, unforgiving, ruthless. Okay, I'm just pretty much just finishing all of it there. Okay, who, though they know the righteousness of Elohim, that those who practice such deserve death, not only do the same, but also approve of those who practice them. Prove all these things the world supports. You notice that? The Most High in the Bible says, no, don't do these things. Okay, now we're talking about the abominations in particular, but look at all these things that Shaul or Paul pointed out. And look at what the world celebrates. We have indeed come into a time where evil is good and good is evil. That's what we're living in right now. Look at the things that he pointed out right there. Having been filled with all unrighteousness, whoring and wickedness and greed and evil, filled with envy, murder, fighting, deceit, evil habits, whisperers, slanderers. I mean, we can look at, trash TV, reality TV and things like that. That's celebrated. People can't get enough of some of these reality TV shows, which is really not reality, but still. All these dramas and stuff like that. Haters of Elohim, right? Atheists and agnostics and other religions that they don't like the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They don't like that. How come he's the only one? How come he's the right one? That's another lesson. Insolent, proud, boasters, devisers of evil, disobedient to parent. We have a lot of that going on now. Without discernment, so confused about everything. Covenant breakers, unloving, unforgiving, ruthless. Let's get back to the parts that he just hated. I'm just pointing out all these things, the type of world we live in. This is how you can get to those abominations. Because everything slides. Everything is becoming backwards. Always starts with a little bit of sin, little bit of unrighteousness, and it slips right into abomination. Let's continue. Let's go on over to James. Go to James 4. James 4. We're going to read verse 5 through 7. James 4, 5 through 7. Or do you think that the scriptures speak to no purpose? And does the spirit which dwells in us intensely crave unto envy? But he gives greater favor. Because of this, he says, Elohim resists the proud, but gives favor to the humble. He resists the proud. He resists the proud. Okay? But gives favor to the humble. Let me go. You know what? I want to go to Proverbs 3 and 34 real quick. That wasn't originally in the lesson, but I want to go there real quick. We can go to Proverbs, where are we? James 4-7, and then we can go to Proverbs 3 and 34. Proverbs 3 right here, and now we go to 34. Let's take a look at this. He certainly scoffs the scoffers, but gives favor to the humble. We have we definitely have some scoffers today, that's for sure. That is for sure. Now, with that out of the way, we're going to go to Matthew. We're going to go to Matthew 23. Actually, let's go to Matthew 23, and we're going to read the first 12 verses. Then Yeshua spoke to the crowd and to his taught ones, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit on the seat of Moshe. Listen carefully, John. Therefore, whatever they say to you to guard and do. But do not do according to their works, for they say and do not do. Okay, now listen. For those who want to get away from the Torah, get away. Yeshua, the Messiah, Jesus the Christ, listen to what he said. Okay, listen to what he said. Okay, he spoke to the crowds and to the taught ones. Oh, he's just talking to the disciple. He talked to the crowd too. Talk to the crowd too. Listen to what he said. That he said this. The scribes and the Pharisees sit on the seat of Moshe. The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Okay? The scribes and the Pharisees, that's where they sit. He said, therefore, whatever they tell you to do, or whatever they say to you to guard and do. But do not do according to their works. Don't look at what they are doing, because for they say and do not do. They don't do it, right? We're going to continue. Let's keep going. For they bind heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on men's shoulders, but with their finger they do not wish to move them. They'll tell you the things that you need to do, but they're not willing to do it themselves. They'll tell you what you need to do, but they're not willing to do it themselves. For example, I can tell you, don't eat bacon, don't eat pork, put the pork down, no bacon, no ham. No BLTs, right? No shrimp, catfish, and lobster. I can tell you that all day long. But I continue to do it because I just like it so much. I just love Cajun food. I can't help it. I love that andouille sausage. I gotta get some. I have to have some jambalaya, some etouffee. I have to. What are you talking about? I can't have some alligator. What are you talking about? Gotta have some shrimp Creole. But you leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't do it. Don't touch it. You don't know. It's not right. Bible says we cannot have that. But I don't. Right? For they bind heavy burdens, hard to bear, and to lay them on men's shoulders, but with their finger they do not wish to move them. Okay? 5. And they do all their works to be seen by men, and they make their tefillin wide and lengthen their tzitzits of their garments, right? They want to put on a show. They want to look holier than thou. They want to look pious. They want to look like they have it all together. It's all for show. It's all for show. And they love the best seats at the feast and the best seats in the congregation. So when they go to a feast, they may throw one, or they may go attend one, and now they love the best seats. They want to look like they're somebody important. They just want to look the part. They don't want to live the part. Because when we look at the prophets and we look at the disciples, we look at some of these large figures in the scripts. When we look at some important figures in the scripts, major or minor, for the most part, they were not liked. For the most part. I mean, obviously, among their own, but for the most part, they were not liked. But you have people like this in it for show. They're in it for the wrong reason. They're in it for show. Let's continue. And the greetings in the marketplaces, and to be called by men, Rabbi, Rabbi. They want to be teacher, teacher, right? But you do not be called Rabbi, for one is your teacher, the Messiah, and you are all brothers, right? Don't be teachers, among each other, above each other. You're all together. You're all brothers. Okay, you got to understand the context by what he means by that, because he's also in Jeremiah, 3. In Jeremiah 3, so I'm going to give you pastors and they'll feed you according to my. So it's okay. It's okay for you to have a teacher, but he's talking about what's going on right here in context, right? 9. And do not call anyone on earth your father, for one is your father, he who is in the heavens. Now, obviously, you can have a biological father, and of course, it's okay to call your father father. But there's religion out there that one of the titles of a person who's supposed to be in charge, his title is father. Now, doesn't it sound like this kind of going against exactly what the Messiah just said? Don't be called father, right? But hey, I just read it. You make of it what you will. Not to be called leaders, for one is your leader, the Messiah. But the greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever exalts himself shall be humbled, and whosoever humbles himself shall be exalted. What do you want? This is your choice. What do you choose? What do you desire? You tell me, what do you desire? Okay, I can hear it through the screen. I'm assuming you want to be exalted. So you know what you have to do? Let's look at what the scripture says. Let's humble ourselves. Let's just humble ourselves. It was just simply, as far as, being a teacher, I started doing it over a decade ago, and it was something that I didn't really want to do it, because I didn't want the responsibility, because somebody's salvation is on the line here. It's a huge, huge responsibility. People's salvation is on the line. They're coming in a sense of trusting you and just like, hey, I'm trying to get some guidance here. So for someone to give me their time, give me their ear, it's a huge responsibility. You know why? Because if I am wrong, okay, if I'm mistaken, that's different. But if I'm wrong, and I know I'm wrong, meaning I'm deceiving you, I'm lying to you, I know I'm wrong, but I'm teaching you wrong anyway, I have to answer for that. Your blood is on my hands. That is laid to my charge. So one, we don't just hop up trying to have preeminence over other people like it's no big deal. You just ready to be called elder and pastor and teacher. Oh, Reverend, Dr. Bishop, Pastor, Priest. Be careful with that. And then the people who you cause to go astray or fall away or miss salvation because of your teachings, you and people in my position will have to answer for that. It's kind of a big deal. And finally, humble ourselves. He resists the proud. Keep that in mind. He resists the proud. We're going to go back to Psalms. Okay, Tehillim chapter 10. We're going to go to Psalms chapter 10. You get there, first 7 verses. Lamed, why do you stand afar off? Oh yeah, hiding in times of distress and arrogance, the wrongdoer hotly pursues the poor. They are caught by the schemes which they devise, for the wrongdoer boasts of its cravings, and the greedy one cursed and despised. Yah. In the pride of his face, remember he hates that, he hates a proud look. In the pride of his face, the wrongdoer does not seek him. In all his thoughts, there is no Elohim. They don't, the Most High does not even come to mind for these people. His ways are always prosperous. Your right ruling are on high, out of his sight. He snorts at all his adversaries. That's the Most High. He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved. From generation to generation, never be in evil. His mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue is trouble and wickedness. This is an evil, evil person, brothers and sisters. This person has got some real problems, some real issues with the Most High. With how he talks, with how he moves. Not recognizing his Messiah, not recognizing his God, not recognizing how he moves. Let's look at that. In the pride of his face. The wrongdoer does not seek him. In all his thoughts there is no Elohim. Look at that, brothers and sisters. You see this? Give no thought for the Most High whatsoever. Let me just tell you, it's a wrap for this person. He resists the proud. It's an absolute wrap for this person. Let's continue. Let's keep going. It's going up to Proverbs 12. Proverbs 12. Proverbs 12. We're going to read 17 through 19. He who speaks the truth declares righteousness, but a false witness, deceit. He who speaks truth declares righteousness, but a false witness, deceit. Rash speaking is like piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is healing. The lip of truth is established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. It won't last forever. All lies will be taken care of. Let's look at it. We're going to go back to 6 real quick. Let's go to Proverbs 6. Okay. It says what? 7. A proud look, a lying tongue. A proud look and a lying tongue. Right? In 17, 6 and 17 of Proverbs. Chapter 6 and 17. A lying tongue. So let's look at it. 17. He who speaks truth declares righteousness, but a false witness, deceit. That's lies. Rash speaking is like piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is healing. Right? Talk some sense into it, right? The lip of truth is established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment, because all lies will vanish eventually. All lies will vanish. Why? Because it won't stand up to scrutiny. For one, here on earth, it won't stand up to scrutiny. But even in the hereafter, in the next life, in the kingdom, no lie will stand. Period. There won't be lying. Okay? They will not stand for that. The leaders in that day, they will not stand for that. We're going to go jump over to James. Okay? We're going to go to James chapter 3. Go to James. We're going to go chapter 3, 6 through 10. Chapter 3, 6 through 10. Which reads, the tongue is a fire, the whirl of unrighteousness among our members. The tongue is set, the one defiling the entire body and setting on fire the wheel of life, and is set on fire by Gehenna. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind. But no man is able to tame the tongue. It is unruly, evil, filled with deadly poison. Filled with deadly poison. With it, we bless our Elohim and Father, and with it, we curse men who have been made in the likeness of Elohim. Out of the same mouth proceeded blessings and cursings. My brother, this should not be so. That lying tongue, we see, we have a power, we have a certain power. You know, the scripture says that, we have the power of life and death is in the tongue, right? We can build up or tear down. And what is it that we do? We're talking about salt water and fresh water. What is it that we do? You see, this is the type of things that is abominable to the Most High. Sure, I grant it. To everything there's a season. I grant you that. I do. I grant you that. But what is your default setting on your tongue? What's the default? Do you use it to edify? That is to say, build up. Do you do that? Is that how you operate? Or are you constantly tearing down? One of the things that he find upon a lying tongue, person that spreads deceit, deception, falsehood. What are you going to do, brothers and sisters? I mean, this is that slippery slope. Just like in the Ten Commandments, is thou shalt not bear false witness, right? But he particularly hates this. I should say, he finds an abomination, according to the writers of Proverbs, the writer of Proverbs. He finds it to be abominable. We have this idea of character assassination today. You can destroy someone with your tongue, spreading rumors and lies. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Over here in James, we're going to go to 2 Samuel. Second Samuel. Shemuel Bet. All right, 2 Samuel, we're going to go to chapter 1 actually. 2 Samuel chapter 1. First 16 verses. Let's get at it. And it came to be after the death of Shaul, when David had returned from striking the Amalekites, that David remained 2 days in Ziklag. And it came to be on the third day that, see, a man came out of the camp from Shaul with his garments torn and dust on his head. And it came to be when he came to David that he fell to the ground and did obeisance. And David said to him, from where do you come? And he said to him, I have escaped from the camp of Israel. And David said to him, what was the matter? Please inform me. And he said, the people have fled from the battle, and also many of the people has fallen and are dead. And Shaul and Jehonathan, his son, are dead too. And David said to the young man, who informed you? How do you know that Shaul and Jehonathan, his son, are dead? And the young man who informed him said, by chance I was on Mount Gilboa and saw Shaul leaning on his spear, and see, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he had looked behind him, he saw me and called to me, and I answered, here I am. And he said to me, who are you? So I answered him, I am an Amalekite. And he said to me, please stand over me and put me to death, for agony has seized me, but my life is still in me. So I stood beside him and put him to death, for I knew he would not live after he had fallen. And I took the diadem from him that was on his head, and the bracelet that was on his arm, and had brought them here to my master. And David took hold of his garments and tore them, and also all the men who were with him. Oh, this is where you hear the sound, dun dun dun, because this guy thought he was doing something good, right? And 12. And they mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Shaul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of Yah, and for the house of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. And then David asked the young man who informed him, where are you from? And he had answered, I am the son of a sojourner, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, how was it you were not afraid to stretch out your hand to destroy the anointed of Yah? And David called one of the young men and said, draw near and fall on him. And he struck him so that he died. And David said unto him, your blood is on your own head, for your own mouth has witnessed against you, saying, I myself have put to death the anointed of Yah. You see, we look at this right here. This guy, he wanted to go ahead and he wanted to lie. He had a lying tongue. He was spreading deceit. Now, if we go back into the last chapter, we see that is not the case. That was not what had happened. Yes, Shaul did die. Saul did die. He did, but it wasn't by this Amalekite's hand. He fell on his own sword, and his shield bearer fell on it as well, just died with him. He was hot in war, hurt, injured really bad. They're losing, and then he wanted his shield bearer to kill him, but the shield bearer was like, "No, I'm not doing that," and so he killed himself, and then his armor bearer, his shield bearer, killed himself as well. This guy comes along afterwards, but he thought he was going to get some sort of prize or some sort of promotion or some sort of reward or something. He thought he was going to get David, but look at what that lying tongue, or you want to spread deceit. Look at what that deception or that lying tongue rewarded him. His reward was death by his own mouth. And guess what? By the way, David's not going to have to pay for that. That guy, he got his wages for the deceit that for his lying tongue. He got exactly what Yah ordered. He got exactly what the doctor ordered for that lying tongue. He hates it. So we got to understand, sometimes we're just instruments in how the Most High execute his judgment. So he got exactly what he deserved. And that's just all there is to it. We're going to go to Deuteronomy now. Let's go to Deuteronomy, Abba Mikbah. Or Davarim, sorry. And let's see here, 19. Davarim 19. Here we go. Davarim 19, we're going to read 11 through 13. 11 says this. But when anyone hates his neighbor and shall lie in wait for him and rise against him and strike his beam so that he dies, then he shall flee to one of these cities. Okay, he's talking about a city of refuge, right? And then 12, and the elders of his city shall send and bring him from there and give him into the hand of the revenger of blood, and he shall die. Again, and the elders of the city shall send and bring him forth from there and give him into the hand of the revenger of blood, and he shall die. Okay, now we're going to look at 13. Your eye shall not pardon him, but you shall purge the blood of the innocent from Israel, so that it might be well with you. Purge the blood of the innocent. Okay. Now, before we go in that, now we're going to start getting into innocent blood and all that. Let me just simply say that some innocent blood that we don't think about, and I already understand some of our ladies out there are going to be upset or take exception to it, but some of the innocent blood out there are some of the children that were in the womb and were aborted. And you got people out there fighting for the right to shed innocent blood. Yes, I know that upsets some people. I know that doesn't sit quite right with some people. But Yah provides a voice for the voiceless as well. You want to look at the numbers of how many abortions there have been in our community? You want to read Yah doesn't like the shedding of innocent blood, but you don't want to talk about this. You don't want to do that. That's too heavy for you. That's a little too much for you. Now, this particular section is not about that, but we are talking about innocent blood, right? Does a child in a womb, does that qualify as innocent as well? Like someone who's done you no wrong, right? Oh, I know. There's gonna be plenty out there who don't like what I'm saying. They don't like that I touched on it. I get it. But who is it that I'm trying to please? Is it the Most High, or is it someone's feelings? Now, I'm not trying to be sharp just for shock value. No, I'm not. I'm really just talking about. I'm actually talking about innocent blood, which we'll get into more. But I just don't want to forget the voiceless that are out there. Now, ladies, I'm not saying it's. I'm not necessarily saying it's all you. I'm not going to get into all of the different ways we come to the conclusion that we need to eliminate an unborn child. I know all the scenario. I know all the scenarios, but you get what I'm saying. I know most of the scenarios out there. Sometimes it's just carelessness, unprotected, not being married. Sometimes it's from some other evil act. But we know by and large, that's not the large percentage. We're not going to pretend like that is the large percentage. Sometimes, most of the time, it's just used as a form of birth control. I'm not ready. The point is this. I'm not trying to get into Roe v. Wade or anything like that. I'm just addressing what's on the table, and that right now is innocent blood. Okay, so now let's get into the innocent blood, like adults. How many deaths out there because of some heinous act? Innocent blood. From war. Hitler and Stalin. Mao, Pol Pot. Genghis Khan. Alexander the Great. What about the innocent blood like that from these people? There's a lot to be said about innocent blood that the Most High doesn't like. Let's go on over to Genesis 9. Better sheet. Chapter 9. I'm just going to read one verse, which is verse 6. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood is shed, for in the image of Elohim has he made man. I told you earlier that sometimes the Most High will use a man to execute his judgment. That's why, for example, like we just read over in the City of Refuge, you have a parent, say you guys, if someone takes the life of one of your children and you take their life, you're not held accountable. Now, on this earth, in this wicked world, you could be held accountable. You could be. Okay? Sometimes there's justice and they don't, and it's crime of passion. You're okay. You avenge the blood of your child. Okay. But there have been times where it don't quite work out that way. But as far as the Most High is concerned, you're fine. You're okay. You just avenged innocent blood. Just like this person tried to run to the City of Refuge, and the elders of that city said, you gotta go. This person that came for your head. When the revenger of blood comes for you. Right? So that's what we're dealing with here. We're gonna go to Numbers too, because that'll be like the last place we're gonna go to before we close this one out, and then we'll get into part 2. I don't want you guys to forget part 2. right? So we're going to go to Bamidbar 35, or Numbers 35. Okay, Numbers 35. And when we get there, we're going to go to, we're going to start at 15. We'll read 15 through 31. 15 through 31. 15 says this. These 6 cities are for refuge for the children of Israel, and for the sojourner, and for the settler in their midst. For anyone who mistakenly strikes someone to flee there. This is by mistake, involuntary, right? It's by mistake. But if he has stricken him with an instrument of iron so that he dies, he is a murderer. You see what happens? The murderer shall certainly be put to death. And if he has stricken him with a stone in the hand by which one could die, and he does die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he has stricken him with a wooden instrument that could kill, and he does die, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall be put to death. The revenger of blood himself puts the murderer to death. See what I just said? When he meets him, he puts him to death. And if he thrusts him through in hatred and throws an object at him while lying in wait so that he dies, or in enmity he strikes him with his hand so that he dies, the one who struck him shall certainly be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood puts the murderer to death when he meets him. But if he pushes him suddenly without enmity, or throws an object at him without lying in wait, or uses a stone by which a man could die, throwing it at him without seeing him, so that he dies, while he was not his enemy or seeking his harm, like he didn't do it on purpose, then the congregation shall judge between him who struck someone and the revenger of blood according to these right rulings. And the congregation shall rescue the manslayer. And the congregation shall rescue the manslayer from the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall return him to the city of refuge where he had fled. And he shall remain there until the death of the high priest, who was anointed with the set apart oil. But if the manslayer at any time goes outside the limits of the city of refuge where he fled, and the revenger of blood finds him outside, that's what we say, if I catch you outside, right? Catch me outside. That's what's going on right here. If he catches him outside the limits of the city of refuge, and the revenger of blood executes the manslayer, he is not guilty of blood. He is not guilty of blood. What did I say earlier? Okay? Because he should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the manslayer is to return to the land of his possession. And these shall be for a law of right ruling to you throughout your generations and all your dwellings. Whoever strikes a being, the murderer shall be executed by the mouth of the witnesses. But one witness does not bear witness against someone. To die, it takes more than one. And take no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death, but he shall surely be put to death. Okay? Again, this is just a part of this. It's not everything. We still have a part 2. We didn't even get through everything, but we're going to get through more of it right here. We're talking about the shedding of innocent blood. He does not like the shedding of innocent blood. And so he put these law right here. He put this law together for if someone shed blood intentionally, and what to do if you shed blood unintentionally. So with that, I hope someone has been edified. But before we get out of here, please allow me to invite you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And if you feel so inclined, check the description box down below and smash that notification bell. Also, if you care to donate to PayPal or CashApp. So, until next time, search the scriptures, improve all things. Shalom, Israel.